Hi everybody, it's Jennifer again, and I'm going to talk about how to review the books for the Teacher's Choices Awards. I know a lot of you have done this before. Some of you are brand new to this review process, and so that's who I am going to be talking to right now. So if you have not watched the video about how to download the review form as an app, please go ahead and do that. Because if you have an iPhone or an iPad, that will be one of the easiest things for you. But if you don't have an iPhone or an iPad, there are a couple other ways that you can review the form. You'll notice on the label on your book, and I wish I could show you that right now, but on the label on your books, you should have a QR code on there that you can scan with after you download a QR code reader as an app. You can scan that and it'll take you directly to the review form. Or you can go to our Teacher's Choices Awards website, home, and then you can go to, which is where I am right now, you can go to the reviewer info, and then you can go down here to the review form. Okay, so I can actually fill out this form right here on the website. So I actually have 3 different ways to do this. Right here on the website, on my app on my phone, which is right here on mine, okay, or from the QR code scanner. And I'm not going to be able to show you how to do that, but hopefully you'll be able to do that. So, so the form is exactly the same. It's just 3 different ways to get to it. So I'm going to kind of talk through what I'm thinking as I'm filling out these forms, and so we can get the best reviews that we can. So this is your name and your school, and then the name of the field leader at your school. And this is the person who I have been in contact with, or somebody from our team has been in contact with, and they are pretty much in charge of distributing the books and keeping the books and kind of keeping track of them. And so at my place, it's me. So I just put me. You put whoever's in charge at yours. The next is the book title. Pretty simple. Don't put in the, a, or an, because we alphabetize and we don't alphabetize with the, a, or an. So the book that I'm going to be doing is Like a River, a Civil War novel. And it does help us if you do the colons and all that, because some of our books have pretty similar titles sometimes. And then the full name of the author. And the publisher you can find usually on the inside or on the spine. And this is Coffins Creek. Okay, the grade level, you will be looking at the colored dot that's on the back by the label. And so this one is a 6 to 8. I do want you to see, though, that we have I don't agree with the color dot, and it's fine. If it's a, we level these and put dots on them without reading all of them, obviously. And so sometimes what could look like a K to 2 book really is an intermediate book. So it's okay if you don't agree. And so this one is a pink and it is 6 to 8. If you want to put I don't agree and then explain on the other, then that's totally fine, and tell us what you think it should be. Then we would appreciate that. My preference for this book would actually be for students to read independently, because it is actually a historical fiction set in the Civil War time, obviously. And, you know, a teacher could read it out loud, but and I wouldn't think too deeply about that. That's not that big of a deal. But just tell us which one you would rather. And then in this next section, we're going to be looking at 3 separate criteria, and then looking at the curricular connections and giving suggestions for the usage of the book. And this helps us when we determine the winners and when we write the synopsis of the book, and when we make suggestions about how to use these in classrooms. So the first one, does the book reflect high literary merit and aesthetic quality, style, content, structure? So we're looking at the language, also at the illustrations, also at the structure of the text. And I would say yes, definitely. This is a beautifully written book. Would this book be fully discovered without an introduction from a knowledgeable educator? In other words, is this something that students would find and be drawn to on their own, or is it something that you as a knowledgeable teacher would have to introduce to your students? In other words, Captain Underpants will be found by children no matter what, but sometimes the books that don't look as enticing or fun or cartoony might not. So I would say no, this one probably wouldn't be discovered if it wasn't for a teacher. And does it have potential for enriching the curriculum? Absolutely. In other words, any curricular connections at all. It could be language arts. This one, obviously, social studies. So does it have potential for enriching their curriculum? So think of your curriculum standards and all the things that you teach their students in your classroom. So this next part, if you said yes, it does have curricular connections, it'll take you to this part of the form where you get to specify which ones. And so I would say social studies, definitely, language arts, definitely, and probably I would say those two are the main ones. And then in this next section, we would like for you to be specific about topics or themes which this text would be used as a part of a unit. So this would be a Civil War unit, about friendship and families. That's probably good. You don't have to be real specific, but you can if you want to give more information. So an overall rating. So the criteria you're thinking about is the aesthetic qualities, whether it would be discovered by a child without a teacher's help, or whether it adds to and enriches the curriculum. So I would say this book is really a good book, and I want you to be really kind of stingy with your threes. This has to be over the top. I love it. I would use it. I have already 10 ideas of what I would use it for in my classroom. These are few and far between because if you think about it, 0 to 3 is not a huge Likert scale range. And so if every book is a 3, then it becomes hard to really pick the winner. So be really stingy with those 3s. It has to be one that you just could not put down and you have all these wonderful ideas about. This one is a great book, but I'm not so sure that it's a winner. So it is totally okay to give 2s to a bunch of books. If it's not a good book, then put fair. And if it's a 0, if it did not meet the criteria, that means maybe it is way too old. It's for a high schooler, or there was some inappropriate content in it, something like that. And then this very last box is really for the ways that you think that this book could be used in the classroom, or what type of readers it might benefit, or anything about appropriateness issues. But you do not have to write a whole bunch on all of these books. If you have some ideas, like this book would be a great lit circle book to use during a study of the Civil War. Okay, that is fine. If you don't want to put anything, that is okay too. So don't spend a whole lot of time on this part of it, especially if your book is not a 3. Okay. The other thing I wanted to say, and this video is about the best place to say it. If you start reading a book and you realize that it is not a good book at all, like you might give it a 0 or a 1, or if you get partway through a novel and you know that it's an okay book, but it's not really going to win anything, or it doesn't have any curricular connections that are very evident, you do not have to keep reading that book. You can read a good portion of it and then decide, say, this is not worth my time. I know it's not going to be a winner, and then just go on after that. Okay. We want to give the books every opportunity to win, but if you know in your teacher heart that this book is not a winner, then go on to the next book and spend more time on those. Okay. And so after filling that out, click submit, and then that's it. You're done. And it does give you an opportunity right here to submit another response. And so you can just go on to the next book. and keep doing them if you have a bunch of them to do at one time. So I hope that this helps you in thinking through the specific parts of the review that are important and gives you those options to the different ways that you can access the review form as well.